Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing super well. So today's video is gonna be crazy. This is just such a disturbing case. It went viral on social media and the amount of DMs and requests that I got from you guys to do this video was insane. But I just kind of wanted to wait a bit because there was a lot of information coming out and so many interviews and documents and evidence to go through. So I just wanted to wait a little bit to kind of gather some more information before sitting down and filming the video. Today we're gonna be talking about 19-year-old Alexee Trevizo, who is a cheerleader from a small town in New Mexico that did one of the most horrendous things possible. I do just want to put a trigger warning because we are going to be discussing very graphic things in this video. Thank you guys so much for being here and for taking the time to listen to today's video. I truly appreciate you guys. Like I say in every single video, you guys are literally the best familia ever. Now, real quick before we get into today's case, I quickly want to thank today's sponsor, Audible. Thank you to Audible for sponsoring today's video. Audible offers an incredible selection of audiobooks, podcasts, and originals across every genre. You can listen to music from your favorite artists, you can listen to a true crime podcast, and you can even listen to audio cookbooks and just so much more. Right now is a summer of storytelling and Audible is by your side all summer long. I have been traveling so much this summer, which means that I'm sitting in long car rides, I'm sitting on long flights, trying to find a way to keep myself busy. Well, I've been listening to Audible and that has been my go-to entertainment while traveling. I've been listening to true crime podcasts, and if you guys want a good recommendation, you guys should check out What Happened with Jackie Flores. I mean, I know you guys know I had to put my little plug in there, but besides my podcast, there are so many other true crime podcasts that you can listen to. And if you're not in the mood to listen to something real, you guys can listen to a thriller or mystery book as well. The Paris Apartment is a really good thriller book. I highly recommend you guys go check it out. If you want to start listening to some amazing things, new members can try Audible free for 30 days. As an Audible member, you can choose one title a month to keep from the entire catalog, including the latest bestsellers and new releases. And you can also download or stream their titles as much as you want. The newly included selection of titles makes Audible membership so much more valuable and gives all members a chance to discover new favorites and new formats. And you can listen to Audible on your phone, your computer, your iPad, everywhere. So if you guys want to try Audible right now, you guys can go to audible.com/Jackie Flores, or you can also text Jackie Flores to 500 500. Alexee Trevizo is a 19-year-old girl from the small town of Artesia, New Mexico. Now, there's not much that we know about Alexee, about her childhood or about who she was as a person. Most of the articles that have come out have spoken about what she did. They don't really speak about, who she was as a person. They mainly just focus on the crime that she committed. So we don't really know much about her, but what we do know is that she was a senior in high school, she was on the varsity cheerleading team, and she had a boyfriend named Devin who was a baseball player that she had been dating for about 2 years. Her parents were divorced, and at the time she was living with her mother Rosa and with her stepfather. Alexee had a pretty close relationship with her mother Rosa, and this is something that we're going to get into a little bit later, but a lot of people feel like this relationship was a little bit too close. And what they mean by that is that it seems like Rosa was kind of like a helicopter mom. We've all met those type of moms before where they just kind of like hover over their children and they just want to be a part of like every decision and like every moment of their life, which is understandable. As a parent, you want to be involved in your child's life, but there has to be boundaries. And it seems like Rosa was a type to control Alexee's decisions and pretty much control her life. Even though Alexee was an adult, she's 19 years old, so she's technically free to do whatever she wants. But it just seems like Rosa was too involved in her daughter's life, and that may have caused Alexee to feel scared of her mom, scared of disappointing her, scared of getting in trouble. And like I mentioned, we will get into that a little bit later. As for the town where Alexee lived in, this was a very tiny town. So, it was one of those towns where everybody knows everyone and word travels quickly. So let's talk about what happened on January 26, 2023. That day was pretty much just like any other day for 19-year-old Alexee. She went to cheerleading practice, she got to see her teammates and have some fun, and then she went home to spend the rest of the day with her family. She went to bed, but she was woken up when she started to feel a lot of pain, specifically in her lower back. She kind of just waited around hoping that this pain would go away, but it never did. In fact, the pain continued to get worse and worse. So at around 11 11:30 p.m., Alexee approached her mother Rosa and told her about the pain that she was having. And Rosa was like, all right, why don't we go to the chiropractor tomorrow and see what they can do? But Alexee was like, no, I am in way too much pain. Like, this is not normal. So that's when they decided that they needed to go to the emergency room. Now, I think if you're experiencing a lot of pain in your lower back and it just doesn't go away on its own, that is definitely concerning. They made the right decision going to the hospital and getting checked out by the doctors. So Alexee and her mother get inside their car and they arrive at the Artesia General Hospital in the early morning hours of January 27th. And Alexee told the front desk that she was having severe back pain. Now, since this was such a last-minute trip to the hospital, it's not like they planned to go here in the middle of the night. Alexee was dressed super casual. She was wearing like a big baggy sweatshirt and some pants. So they check into the hospital, and since she was having pain in her lower back, the doctors were worried that maybe Alexee had some type of UTI or some type of kidney infection. If there's pain in your back, that's usually an indication that one of those things is happening. That's actually how I found out I had a kidney infection a few years ago, because I had so much pain in my lower back. Like, it was crazy. So always listen to your body. If you're having pain, go see a doctor. So, of course, the doctor was like, all right, let's go see if you have a UTI or if something else is going on. But before they could start testing for any of those things, they had to ask Alexee if she was pregnant. This is a typical question that the doctor asks you anytime you go for a visit, because if you're pregnant, that can change pretty much everything. It can change the type of medication that you receive, the type of help that you get, and it could also explain why she was having back pain. Instead of having a UTI or a severe kidney infection, the back pain could just simply be related to her pregnancy. So the doctor asked Alexee, are you pregnant? And Alexee said no, that she was still a virgin and that she was not sexually active. Now, her mother was inside the room while she was being questioned by the doctors, so maybe Alexee didn't want to really be honest in front of her mom. I feel like even if you're 19 years old, you still don't want to admit in front of your mom that you're like sexually active. You know what I mean? So doctors were like, okay, maybe she's lying about this because her mom is here. And as I mentioned, her mom is kind of like a helicopter mom. So there was no way that this mom was going to leave her daughter's side. In fact, Rosa even intervened and was like, there is no way my daughter is pregnant. I know she's not pregnant because I've been buying her pads every single month. So that meant that Alexee was still having her period, and because of that, they knew that she was not pregnant and this back pain had to be related to something else. So the doctors listened to all of this and they're like, okay, perfect. You're not pregnant, so let's move on to the next test. And they gave Alexee some pain medication in the meantime while they did a CAT scan on her pelvis just to check for kidney stones. And, even though Alexee and the mom were saying that she was not pregnant, the doctors were like, let's do a test just in case, because again, you never know. So they decided to do a quick urine test just to see, what would happen. And when they got the results back, this pregnancy test came back positive. Now, of course, pregnancy tests are not always accurate. It's always better to do a blood test than just a urine test just to make sure that the pregnancy is actually real. So they requested to do a blood test to determine if there were HCG levels in her blood, which is an indication of pregnancy. Now, there has been some type of confusion as to whether or not the hospital staff informed Alexee of her pregnancy. Some staff members have been interviewed and they say that yes, they believe that Alexee was informed of her pregnancy, but other staff members have come out and said that they're not really sure, that they don't really think that anybody told Alexee she was pregnant. I'm sure later on this might be confirmed during the trial, but as of now, it seems like no one told Alexee that she was pregnant. Now, going back to Alexee and her mom, they were inside the patient room waiting for the pregnancy results to come back. And at around 1:30 in the morning, Alexee told the hospital staff that she really needed to go to the bathroom, like really badly. She said that she did not feel well and that she really felt like she needed to go number 2. So she actually got up from the hospital bed, and the surveillance footage shows her literally running to the bathroom and like grabbing her butt while she's running, because she literally felt like something was going to come out of her. She eventually makes it to the bathroom and she's in there for quite some time. At one point, her mother Rosa actually walks over to the bathroom to try to talk to Alexee through the door, but she refuses to open it. So Rosa walks back to the hospital room, and then 10 minutes later, she goes back to the bathroom to check on her daughter, but once again, Alexee refuses to open up the door. So since the daughter is refusing to let her in, Rosa just goes back to the hospital room to wait. Now, the hospital staff was worried about this. Alexee has been in the bathroom for quite some time now. She refuses to open the door for her mom. She refuses to open the door to the staff. And on top of that, they know that she's pregnant. So they're worried that maybe she's having some type of miscarriage or maybe something happened to her and she needs medical help. So one of the nurses at night named Lori says that the hospital staff was just getting really nervous about this and they just wanted to intervene. They knocked on the door a couple of times, but Alexee refused to open up. So they asked her, "Is everything okay?" And Alexee said that yes, she was fine, but that she was having a hard time going to the bathroom. So the staff tells her, "Okay, no worries, just push the red button in the bathroom if you need anything." Because, usually when you go to a bathroom in a hospital or like in a doctor's office, there's usually like a big red button on the wall in case you fall or you need help. So they told her to push the button in case anything happened, and then they waited some more time. Now, as they were waiting for Alexee to leave the restroom, they kept hearing the paper towel dispenser being used, and they also kept hearing the toilet flushing and the faucet water running. It just seemed like there was a lot going on in the bathroom, but once again, Alexee refused to open up. They actually told her that they were going to go grab the key and unlock the bathroom if she didn't come out in that moment. And they weren't lying when they said that. They literally went to go grab the key, and as they were about to unlock the bathroom door, Alexee quickly opened up all on her own, and then she just walked out. She didn't even say anything to the staff waiting outside for her. She literally just started walking back to her hospital room, and everyone's just like, "Okay, like what happened?" One of the staff members peeks inside the bathroom, and when he looks inside, he sees that there is blood all over the floor. So he quickly turns to Alexee, who is walking away, and he asks her, "What happened?" And Alexee's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, like I just got my period," and then she just continues walking back to her room. I mean, yes, there are cases where people bleed a lot when they're on their period, but this amount of blood just did not seem like it was from, a menstrual cycle. So now that Alexee was back in the hospital bed, the staff was trying to figure out what happened. Why was she in the bathroom for so long, and what did she do? They were thinking to themselves that maybe she was trying to harm herself or that she had some type of medical problem related to her pregnancy. I mean, all that blood on the floor just indicated that something else had happened. It actually looked like Alexee had tried to wipe the blood away. So he went to go tell the rest of the staff about this, and they were all thinking that maybe Alexee had some type of miscarriage. She tried to hide it because she didn't want her mom to know that she was pregnant, and that's where that blood came from. So the hospital staff starts checking the toilet to see if Alexee had flushed anything down there, and the toilet was empty. They also went to go check the top of the trash can that was inside of the bathroom just to see if maybe something was thrown away there, but again, they found nothing. Now, since there was just blood, but there really wasn't anything inside of the toilet or inside the trash can, the staff figured that nothing bad had actually happened. So that's when the hospital staff called over the housekeeper, Leela Lewis, to clean up the restroom. I mean, despite Alexee trying to wipe away the blood on the floor, there was still a lot to clean up. So they called over the housekeeper, and Leela walked over to the bathroom, and she says that when she looked at the bathroom, she just felt like she was walking into a war zone. I mean, even before she walked into the bathroom, she saw that there was like blood coming out of the door and also like footprints that Alexee had left behind. So she just knew that this was going to be a very chaotic and just intense scene. I mean, the blood was all over the wall, it was all over the floor, it was everywhere. Leela says that it was one of the worst things that she had ever seen in her life. So, she walks into this nightmare of a scene and she starts cleaning as she was told to do so. She started mopping the floor, wiping down the walls, and wiping down on the toilet seat. Now, while she's cleaning up this bathroom, she obviously used a lot of wipes and paper towels because there was just so much to soak up. So the trash can in the bathroom was quickly filling up. Now, she says that usually when she cleans the bathroom, one of the first things that she takes out is the trash can. But since she walked into such a horrific scene and there was just way too much to wipe away and, mop up, she left the garbage last. So now that everything had been wiped away, she was ready to move the trash bin. Leela says that when she went down to go pick up the trash bin, she just felt like it was a little bit more heavier. It had a little bit more weight than it usually did. Now, it's not uncommon for the staff to put new garbage bags at the bottom of the bin so that the liners can be replaced easily once the trash is removed. So, since there's usually some garbage bags underneath the bin, she just figured that maybe that's what that added weight was. But then again, she started to feel it a little bit more and she just felt like this was different. It didn't feel like just a couple of extra garbage bags. it felt heavier. Leela starts going through the trash to, figure out what this heavy item is. And, that's when she comes across a clear plastic bag. She pulls out the plastic bag, and that's when she noticed that there was something off about this. There was something in that bag that looked black and purple, and when she got a closer look at it, she saw that inside the bag was a baby. She didn't see the baby's face, only the back of the baby's head and the baby's brown hair. The baby's skin was a pink and purple color, and she said that the baby was about 2 feet long, so this was a full-term size baby. As soon as Leela saw this, she ran out of the bathroom and she told the other staff members, "There's a baby in the trash." I mean, she could barely get these words to come out of her mouth, she was just in complete shock. I mean, imagine coming across something like this, you're at your job, cleaning the bathroom, and then you take out the trash and find a baby. It was so traumatizing for her, and she says that after this, she was just in shock. One of the nurses ran over to the bathroom, grabbed the trash bag, and then immediately rushed this baby to the trauma center to see what could be done. I mean, who knows, maybe this baby still had a chance at life. At the trauma center, they discovered that this was a baby boy, and unfortunately, at 2:28 in the morning on January 27th, this baby boy was pronounced dead. I mean, this was just a lot for everyone to take in. Everyone at this hospital was just shocked. They were disturbed and they were just heartbroken. This poor baby was just left in the garbage bin as if it was nothing. Now, as to why the baby was in the garbage, Leela believes that Alexee removed the existing trash bag that was already in the bin, and that's when she found that there was new garbage bags at the bottom. So she grabbed one of the extra garbage bags, put her baby inside of it, and then placed the original, filled trash bag over it. That way, if someone went to go look inside the garbage bin, they would not see the baby. Now, after making this horrible discovery, the staff called the police and told them about what had happened. Officers arrived at the scene, and that's when it was time to finally confront Alexee about what she had done. A police officer and the main doctor at the hospital, along with the nurse, went into Alexee's room to speak to her, and of course, the mother Rosa was there as well. So the doctor enters a room and she tells Rosa and Alexee, "We need to talk. We found a baby in the bathroom." Rosa immediately says, "Oh my God." And she seems like surprised by this, and she kind of just turns to Alexee to stare at her. And that's when Alexee starts crying and she says, "I'm sorry, it came out of me and I didn't know what to do." And, looking at the doctor, she just looks so disappointed. I just feel like you can tell that her heart was broken by what Alexee did, and she's just, first of all, so disappointed in her, and second of all, angry. As for the mother Rosa, she also seems shocked. She stands up from the hospital bed, she's kind of pacing around the room, and Alexee is sitting on the bed, crying, saying that she just didn't know what to do.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we discovered a dead baby in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. It came out of me and I didn't know what to do.
Lexi, I told you about this. I just asked you, baby, to tell me the truth.
Scared. It was not crying or nothing.
What did you do to it?
She says that she had the urge to go number 2 and she felt like something was literally going to come out of her, which is why she ran to the bathroom. And then as soon as she sat down on the toilet seat, she says that the baby just fell out of her. So the baby falls into the toilet and she grabs the baby and starts carrying it, and she says that the baby was not breathing and that the baby was not moving. She was scared of what to do next, and that's when she decided to put the baby in a garbage bin, and I don't know, I guess she just hoped that no one would find the baby and that no one would ever find out about what she actually did. Now, her saying that she didn't know what to do is pretty frustrating because she had options. I mean, she was literally at a hospital, so she could have just given the baby to the hospital staff or at least told them about what was happening instead of just putting the baby in the garbage. Now, when the mother Rosa hears all of this, she literally tells Alexee, "Lexi, I told you about this. I just asked you, baby, to tell me the truth. Have you watched the news about the girls that do this to their babies and they go to jail?"
Lexi, have you watched the news of the girls that what they do to their babies and what they go to jail?
I was crying.
Any other questions? Okay.
I mean, Rosa is freaking out, but a lot of people kind of question what she said. She didn't ask Alexee, how did you get pregnant? Or did you know you were pregnant? Or anything about that. She basically was saying, Alexee, I told you about this. Like girls go to jail when they do this to their babies. So to some, it kind of seems like maybe Rosa did know about this, or maybe she suspected that her daughter was pregnant. Rosa does ask the staff, do you know how big the baby was? And they told her that the baby was full term, which shocks Rosa even more.
Do you guys have, I'm the charge nurse here, do you guys have any questions for me?
Like, how big is the baby?
It's full term.
What? 9 months? Nothing was crying.
I mean, I just can't even imagine being a parent and finding out that your child was pregnant and then they just threw away a full-size baby into a trash can. Now, going back to the staff's perspective, they said that they were kind of upset with Rosa's reaction along with Alexee's reaction. I mean, they both reacted so odd to this news. One of the nurses says that Alexee wasn't even crying real tears and that Rosa was basically just scolding her. So it seems like Alexee was crying about the fact that her mother found out that she was pregnant and that she was going to get in trouble, then crying about the fact that she had just given birth to a baby in the toilet and hid this baby in the garbage. The nurse also says that neither one of them asked about the baby's condition. They didn't ask if the baby was still alive, if the baby was a boy or a girl, nothing. They literally asked nothing about the baby, and they were mainly just concerned about the fact that Alexee was going to get in trouble and potentially go to jail. One nurse did an interview and said that to her, it seemed like Alexee had ripped the umbilical cord like an animal, and that when she saw this, it really caught her attention. And she was basically like, oh my goodness, this girl literally ripped this thing apart, because umbilical cords are really hard to cut. So this entire thing was just really hard to witness, and of course, everyone was just in shock. The doctor asked Alexee if the father of her child was a steady boyfriend, and she said yes, but that he had no idea she was pregnant. So after informing Alexee and Rosa about what they had discovered, of course the hospital staff had to call the police because this was literally a crime, and they told Alexee, listen, we're going to call the police, an investigation is going to happen, there's going to be an autopsy, we are going to find out what actually happened.
I'm sorry about this, but in terms of delivering a baby and it looked like you tried to hide it, we do have to have the police involved.
And nothing was crying. It came out with nothing.
I know. But the baby's going to have to be taken for autopsy and there'll be an investigator and everything. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But we need to do this correctly. And I want to be transparent with you about what our steps are going to be.
Right. So as of right now, like I said, is we're gonna have the detectives come over here and they're gonna talk to you. Okay. We have to gather some more information about what's going on. They'll get your statement. They're gonna get the doctor's statements. They're gonna get everybody's statements. Okay. So I don't know everything yet. Okay. So I'm not gonna tell you. I can't tell you nothing honestly. Okay. All I can say is
Could go to jail.
right now, right now she's being detained. So she's not gonna leave from here at all. Period. Okay. So one of us will
Is
be
it in your custody?
Yeah, she's detained. Yeah, she's not under arrest, but she is detained. Okay, she's not free to leave. So while this whole thing is coming up, you're not free to leave. Okay, one of us will be in here the whole time with you, because you're not going to try to leave or nothing like that.
She won't.
Like I said, the detectives will be here.
Now, since Alexee was pregnant and had just given birth in the bathroom, the doctor said that the priority right now was to make sure that she was okay and that she didn't die. I mean, she literally gave birth on the toilet with no medications, no help, nothing. So they had to make sure that she had delivered the placenta and that she wasn't bleeding significantly. So they made the decision to transfer her to another hospital so that she could go see an OB/GYN. The doctor turns over to Rosa and asks her, do you give me permission to send your daughter to another hospital? And that's when another staff member intervenes and says, she's 19. She does not need her mother's permission. And the doctor's like, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, she's 19. We don't need to ask her mother. And that's when Rosa intervenes and is like, okay, but she's still a student. And the doctor's like, okay, that does not matter. She is still 19. We do not need your permission.
Okay, stop right here. Stop. Number one priority, guys. Number one priority is she just had a baby. I don't know if she's delivered the placenta. She's bleeding significantly.
Yeah.
I've spoken to the obstetrician at Loveless. They want her up there as soon as possible.
Okay.
I need your permission to transfer her for medicals. She needs to
She's
be med.
19.
Oh, you're right.
But she is a student too.
She's
No,
still
no,
19 years
you're
old.
right. You're right. She needs to. I'm sorry, I forgot she's 19. You need to make sure that you're safe. I need to send you to Loveless to labor delivery. Will you please agree to that?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm gonna work on that.
So they get Alexee to sign the paperwork, and as she's being transported to this new hospital, her mother Rosa actually stays behind and she waits for her husband to get there and for Alexee's boyfriend Devin and his mom Melanie to get there. Because obviously since Alexee was pregnant, that meant that there was a father to this child. So of course the police wanted to speak to this father and, see what he knew about this. Did he know that Alexee was pregnant? Did he know anything about what was going to happen tonight? So at around 4:20 in the morning, Alexee's stepdad, her boyfriend Devin, and the mom Melanie show up to the hospital and they join Rosa in the waiting room. Now, while they're there, a police officer arrives and he kind of does like an informal interview with the group. This officer informed them that the baby was going to be taken upstairs for an autopsy to be conducted, and as soon as the police told the group that, Alexee's mom said, "After she's let go, are you guys going to take her into custody?" And the officer said, "Well, that depends on what the autopsy finds." The officer then begins to question Rosa about Alexee, and he asks if Alexee has ever experienced back pain in the past.
So what did she come here for that she told you?
She told me she had back pain.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. Has she been having back pain before?
Yeah, pain for her and her hips is no, she was born with like I don't know, it's like crooked.
Her spine?
Okay, because my ex-husband, he hit me. He beat me whenever I was pregnant with her. So she was early. So she had some problems with her hips. Like I always had to take her to the chiropractor to get adjusted because she couldn't use, like, she was always getting constipated. Like she had to get lined up, whatever. So, I've been taking her to chiropractor because I always thought, well, this time, I didn't know. I honestly didn't know she was pregnant. I didn't know. I just thought, like she said, I have back pain more. My hips are hurting me. I think I need to go to the chiropractor. I said, okay, let's go tomorrow. But she was like in really a lot of pain and,
When did it start?
And throughout this informal interview, Rosa keeps reiterating that she did not know her daughter was pregnant and that she honestly just thought that the back pain was normal hip pain that she has experienced her entire life. On top of that, she also reiterated that Alexee was a cheerleader, so she was an athlete and she had been active this entire time.
But she's a cheerleader too, so she's big in cheers. They have cheer competition. She works out.
And she's been active this whole
yeah,
time?
Yeah, she's been active this whole time.
And who does she live with?
With me.
So
Parents. With us.
Oh.
Yeah, because she's in school. She's a senior.
So no one suspected that she was pregnant because she was still going to cheerleading practice as if nothing was wrong. So they continue on with the interview and the police officer tells Rosa, "Okay, I'm just confirming, you're the grandma, right?" And Rosa's like, "No, I'm the mom." And he's like, "Okay, but you're the grandma of the baby." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm the grandma. But so is she." And she just immediately points over to Melanie.
Okay. And you'd be grandmother?
I'm mom.
So you'd be
I'm
the
her mom.
you'd be the destined grandmother?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
So that's her boyfriend.
Mr. Boyfriend, do you have a driver's license?
Towards the end, the police officer tells Rosa how to arrange the cremation and death certificate for the baby boy, and that's when Rosa starts crying. Now, moving over to Alexee's boyfriend, Devin, he was also questioned by this police officer, and at no point throughout the interview did he ever confirm or deny knowing that Alexee was pregnant. All he said is that him and Alexee had been dating for 2 years and that she had recently been complaining about back and hip pain, but Devin says that was it. That's all he knew about the situation.
Like the pain?
Yes.
Yesterday she said it was really bad, that her hips were hurting and her back. And then last night we're on the phone together and she said her hips were hurting bad. I said, asked her if anything else was hurting, and she said just everything. And she went to sleep.
And how long have y'all been together?
Almost 2 years.
2 years? Okay. So I'm not trying to be rude, but you are more than likely would be the father? Okay. Yes.
No, we get it. We get
Sometimes
it.
it happens.
As for his mom, she didn't really say much throughout this interview. I'm wondering what's going on through her brain, because imagine finding out that your son got his girlfriend pregnant and then that the girlfriend put the baby in a trash bin. That must be a lot for anyone to take in. So now let's move over and let's talk about what happened to Alexee after all of this occurred. As I mentioned, the police told her that she was going to be detained and that an autopsy was going to be conducted to determine how the baby actually died. Well, after being questioned and getting checked out at the hospital, she eventually was able to go back home. She went back to school and she continued to live her life. When she arrived back at school, she tried to resume her role on the cheerleading squad, but the coaches told her no, that she could not participate in any of the competitions or in any of the games because while she was away, they had learned some new routines and Alexee didn't know them, so she was no longer going to be cheering at the games. There was also a lot of whispers going around the school. I mean, at this point she was not arrested and there was no official document or any official report stating what she had done. But again, this is a small town, people talk, and a lot of people knew of what she had done. According to some students, they were told by the principal that they were not allowed to speak about what happened to Alexee or about what she had done, and if they did speak about this, they could potentially be suspended, expelled, or banned from graduating. Now, despite the whispers, Alexee continued to live her normal life. Just 12 weeks after giving birth to her son and throwing his body in the trash can, Alexee attended prom with her boyfriend. Yeah, she went to prom, guys. What? This, I don't even know. This was just so shocking to me. I don't get how you could attend prom knowing that you did such a terrible thing and that you might potentially get arrested for this. It's just absolutely crazy, and I don't get how she was able to just move on so quickly. So she went to prom with her boyfriend Devin, and she was wearing this tan dress with white sneakers, and the photographer at the prom said that you wouldn't even have known that she had just given birth or that this terrible tragedy had just occurred because she just looked so normal. Alexee was at this prom holding her boyfriend's arm, smiling and excited to be there. There's this photo of them together at prom, and this photo went viral on social media because everyone was just like, how is this girl smiling after doing such a terrible thing? Everyone was wondering, why hasn't she been arrested yet? Because at this point, it had been months since she had given birth in the hospital. Well, the results from the autopsy had not been delivered yet, so since the police did not know whether or not the baby was breathing when Alexee gave birth to him, they really had nothing to charge her with yet, so in the meantime, she was just out and about. Now, during this time, they did try to speak to her. Records indicate that the police did attempt to speak with her on January 31st, just 4 days after her baby died. And then they also tried to speak to her again on April 26th. They actually approached her as she was leaving school, but she refused to speak to the police without her attorney present. And the same goes for her boyfriend Devin. He also refused to speak to authorities unless his attorney was there with him. So for now, police were just waiting around to see what to do next. It wasn't until March when the autopsy results finally came back. The autopsy results concluded that the baby boy had air in his lungs when he died, suggesting that he was alive and breathing when he was born. According to police reports, the newborn died from entrapment, which occurs when an individual is in an airtight container or relatively airtight container, which in this case was the Tide plastic bag, and consumes all of the available oxygen until there is no longer enough oxygen to sustain life. Again, Alexee is maintaining that this baby was stillborn, that the baby did not cry, it was not breathing, it didn't make any type of noise or any type of movement indicating that they were still alive, which is why she felt like it was okay to throw her baby in the trash bin. So that's what Alexee says, but the medical examiner ruled that the baby's death was a homicide. After the autopsy was conducted, the baby was taken to the Ballard Funeral Home in Roswell, and the baby was cremated as, quote, baby doe, and the remains were actually sent back to Alexee. Now, just hearing those results broke my heart. I mean, the fact that this innocent baby was breathing and was alive and had a chance at life, but Alexee decided to just throw it away, it's so unfair and it's so disturbing. One of the hospital staff members said that Alexee didn't even give them a chance to save this baby's life. So after getting the results from the autopsy and, putting together a case on May 10th, 2023, police were finally ready to arrest Alexee. Officers arrived at her house, they knocked on their door, and they were immediately greeted by Rosa. Police explained to Rosa why they were there, and she just got really defensive. She insisted on seeing the arrest warrant, and she asked the officers, "Why is my daughter being arrested?" Officers were like, "Well, we don't really need to tell you anything. I mean, Alexee's an adult. She's 19 years old, so we really don't need to be talking to you." And this just makes Rosa so angry.
Okay, what's going on? What are we doing? I will I'll bring her out. Just tell me what's going on.
She's up for arrest.
Okay.
I will give it to her whenever
Can I see her warrant?
she can see the warrant before she gets arrested.
This is my house. I
Right.
have a right to see the warrant.
I'm letting you know she has a warrant for her arrest. We don't have a search warrant for your house. We have a warrant for her arrest.
Okay, can we see the warrant?
Yeah, once we get hold of her.
She gets a copy of it.
Can I go up there when you take her up there?
You can go to the detention. Do you know where it is?
Everything?
It's
Okay,
nowhere.
so what is she under arrest for?
She's over 18. She's got to talk to her.
I understand that,
Right.
Detective Gonzalez.
Right.
What is she under arrest for?
She has a warrant for arrest. Okay?
For what?
That's all I'm going to tell you. Okay?
What do you mean that's all you're going to tell me?
She's over the age of 18.
I understand that, but I have a right to know as well.
And we'll tell you that, but we
Okay,
we
then
need
let
the
me know now.
cooperation. We need the cooperation.
Let me know now. I'm giving you the cooperation. I told you answer my question. What is she under arrest for?
Like I said, she's over the age of 18. Like, that we can't relinquish that information. But if you bring her out here, we'll tell you.
What is she under
If
arrest
you bring her out here,
for?
we'll tell you right in front.
No, I'm not bringing her out here yet. Let me know what she's under
gonna
arrest
get
for.
arrested.
You know, listen, I understand why the mom was asking this. I'm sure if I was 30 years old and I was getting arrested, I feel like my mom would still be asking questions and would still want to know why this was happening. So I understand why Rosa was upset and was getting all riled up because her daughter was literally going to get arrested. However, at the same time, I don't know why she's acting so shocked. I mean, her daughter literally killed a baby and put a baby inside a trash bin. So I don't know why she was so surprised to see officers pulling up at her door and trying to take in her daughter.
Regardless of how, I mean, I don't know why.
For what? For what? For what?
Are you okay with telling me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Tell me.
Homicide. Open count of homicide. And tampering with evidence.
Tampering with evidence
Yes.
at the hospital?
Yes.
So, can we see her now?
Give me a minute.
Okay.
I have a right to see a warrant. It doesn't matter if she's over the age of 18. This is my house. You have a right. You have to show me that warrant.
If we were searching your house,
Even if she's under arrest, you have to show me the
it's
warrant.
up to her to show us.
So after they let Rosa know about why they're arresting Alexee, she pulls out her phone and she kind of goes inside the house, and it's assumed that she was calling the family's attorney. You know, she's probably letting the attorney know, like, hey, police are here, they're about to arrest my daughter. What are we going to do about this? So she starts speaking to the attorney inside the home, and the police officers are just like waiting outside, you know, waiting for Alexee to come out so that they can arrest her and bring her down to the station. And while they're waiting, one of the officers asks whether or not they should arrest the mother for obstruction, you know, because she's literally delaying the process. She's getting riled up. So they're like, okay, should we arrest her for an obstruction of justice? But the other two officers on the scene say that that's not necessary because, again, I'm sure it's common for parents to question this type of situation, even if their child is already over 18 years old. So the officer says, no, we won't go there. And they continue waiting outside.
You could arrest mom for obstruction.
Yeah, we won't go there.
Trying to
You're
do that.
protected there.
Eventually, Rosa comes back out of the house and she asks the officers not to be rough with Alexee when they arrest her.
We're not going to be rough with her or anything. We're just going to take her over there and book her.
Please don't be rough with her, please.
Just bring her out. You can be with her the entire time. Okay?
Do you know where the public safety complex is? 3300 West Main?
You can follow us over there. I will take you there. You can follow me over there.
And then Alexee finally walks out the front door, and the officers explain to her about what's about to go down, that she's going to be arrested and booked.
Hi. What's your name?
Alexee.
Okay. What's the last 4 of your social?
She don't even know it.
You don't know it?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Alexee, do you know your date of birth?
Yes.
Okay.
What is it?
11/25/03.
Yeah.
Do you have to walk her all the way over there? Can you bring your car up there? Please.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
That's all. Just please.
I'll go get it.
Alexee, are you okay with your mom getting your criminal complaint when we get to the detention center? It has your personal information
Can
on
you
it.
repeat that?
Are you okay with your mother getting the criminal complaint? It has your personal identifying information on it. Serial number, date of birth.
Yes.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay. I have to serve you first, then your mom can get it, okay?
Okay.
I do.
They allow her to go back inside the house to get some pads before taking her out to the police car and placing her in handcuffs.
Just making sure you're doing. Okay. And just nothing sharp, no flammables, nothing sharp, okay? Okay, they're gonna check it when you get over there, okay?
Okay.
Confirms that address is 611 North 1st Street. 611 North 1st.
Okay, we'll check those when same thing, okay? They're gonna check all that when you get over there, okay? Thank you.
I'm going up there right now too, okay?
Alright, what's in there?
Personal pads.
Personal pads?
Yeah, she needs them.
Follow me.
They bring her down to the Eddy County Jail, they put her through the booking process, and they also take some swabs out of her mouth.
All right, can you open your mouth for me? Okay. All right. Almost done. All right. Now I'm just gonna do one more pair, okay?
19-year-old Alexee Trevizo was officially charged with first-degree murder and tampering with evidence. According to the criminal complaint, it stated that Alexee did kill John Doe, a human being, without lawful justification or excuse. It also stated that Alexee did knowingly, intentionally, or negligently, and without justifiable cause or permit John Doe, a child, to be placed in a situation that endangered or might have endangered John Doe's life or health, and the abuse resulted in the death of John Doe. They also stated that Alexee did destroy, change, hide, place, and fabricate physical evidence to John Doe with the intent to prevent the apprehension, prosecution, or conviction. So basically they were saying that yes, Alexee did purposely kill this child and then tried to get rid of the evidence. After about 6 days in jail, Alexee was actually released on a $100,000 bail with the conditions of a 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. curfew, no drugs, no alcohol, or possession of firearms, and the judge actually allowed her to go back to school to finish the rest of the year and to graduate. She was let go without an ankle monitor or without being under house arrest, and the judge also required her to attend counseling. As of now, her next court date is on September 11th, and then the trial is set to begin on October 2nd, but that might change, so I will definitely keep you guys posted on what happens with this case. I mean, this case just truly shocked me. I cannot believe that this girl did something so terrible and just tried to hide it and, I don't know, just tried to move on with her life. You know, I get it. She was 19 years old. She's probably freaked out at the fact that she's pregnant, but I feel like she should have just told the hospital staff about what was going on. You know, if she couldn't trust her mom and she was scared of what her mom was going to say, the hospital staff could have helped her and they could have pretty much kept this a secret from Rosa. You know, she had options. She didn't have to hide her baby inside of a trash bin and just let this baby die in such a horrible way. Now, her defense lawyer is named Gary Mitchell, and he says that Alexee did not know that she was pregnant and that there was no indication that she was pregnant. He says that Alexee didn't gain a lot of weight out of nowhere or, you know, anything else happened to her body that would indicate that she was pregnant with a baby. He also claims that the baby was dead at birth, regardless of what the autopsy is reporting, and that Alexee should not face a murder charge because, quote, this isn't a classic child abuse case. And on top of that, he says that Alexee doesn't have a criminal record, so he just feels like she's being punished a little bit too harshly for this. Now, when the trial begins, Alexee's defense team is going to have to find their own experts to dispute what the autopsy report states, which again says that the baby did have air in his lungs, which indicates that the baby was alive when it was born. So they're going to have to try to find a way to, you know, fight that statement. And as of now, the attorneys say that there are just so many major discrepancies about what actually happened that night. And they're even thinking of suing the hospital for negligence. Yeah, Gary says that, first of all, the doctors gave Alexee morphine when she arrived, complaining of back pain, and that the morphine then went into the baby, which could have caused the baby to stop breathing. He's also claiming that the information the hospital is stating to the police is not exactly true. So as I mentioned, the hospital staff originally asked Alexee if she was pregnant, and she said no, that she was still a virgin and that she was not sexually active. Well, Gary claims that that's not true, that Alexee never said those words and that the hospital staff is just making this up to go along with their narrative. He's also upset about the fact that the hospital staff knew Alexee was pregnant for 45 minutes before she gave birth in the bathroom. He believes that if the hospital staff had told her that she was pregnant, then Alexee would have just come clean about everything, or she could have gotten the proper help that she needed and the baby would still be alive. But since they didn't tell her that she was pregnant, Alexee went to the bathroom thinking that she truly just had to go number 2. And then, well, the rest happened. So of course he's going with the narrative that Alexee did not know that she was pregnant and that if she had been told, then the baby would probably still be alive today. I don't know, I just think it's crazy that they're trying to potentially sue the hospital for negligence. I mean, even if Alexee did not know that she was pregnant, she still didn't have to throw the baby away in a trash can. You know, I don't really get how those two things correlate to each other. It's just really crazy, and I will definitely keep you guys posted on any new movements and any new statements that her defense team comes out with. As for Alexee's boyfriend, Devin, as of right now, he has not been charged with anything. He has also not spoken out about the situation. He hasn't done any interviews. I mean, most people believe what he says, that he had no idea Alexee was even pregnant to begin with or was capable of doing something like this. But on the other hand, some people believe that he's lying, that he did know Alexee was pregnant. So I don't really know, you guys. I'm not sure if he did know, if he didn't know. I just still think it's crazy that they went to prom together. I mean, that photo is like engraved in my brain. I mean, these people are literally smiling, holding each other's arms, just walking into prom as if they didn't just lose a son. And what's crazy is that Alexee isn't the first person to do something like this. This case reminded a lot of people of the Brooke Skylar Richardson case. I have not covered this case on my channel before, but if you guys would like me to, definitely let me know and leave me a comment so I can add it to my list. Brooke was a teenager from Ohio who gave birth and buried the baby in her parents' backyard. I remember when this case happened, it was all over the news and everyone was just so shocked that this was real life. Like, how could someone do this, bury a baby in their parents' backyard and then just go back inside as if nothing had happened? There was another similar incident that also happened in New Mexico involving a 19-year-old girl named Alexis Avila. I know they kind of have like similar names, so I'm just going to refer to this girl as Avila. Now, Avila was actually sentenced to 18 years in prison for leaving her newborn baby in a black trash bag inside a dumpster. Now, the baby actually survived after almost 36 hours inside this dumpster, which is just so heartbreaking to even think like that baby was inside the garbage for 36 hours. 36 hours just alone inside a garbage bin, and there's actually surveillance footage of Avila doing this. You literally see her pull up to the dumpster, grab the bag, throw it over to the dumpster, and then she just drives away. It's terrible. It shows how just evil she is and just sick and just has no remorse. It just makes me angry when people do things like this. Thankfully, the baby was found alive. The baby was found by some dumpster divers, and I don't know where the baby is now. I need to do a follow-up with this, but still, it's crazy that this is such a common thing. So common for people to leave babies in dumpsters. I've heard of people leaving babies in rivers or just throwing them on the side of the road. I don't get how people can do that because, I mean, most fire stations let you leave a baby there, as well as hospitals and churches. So there's options for you instead of just leaving your baby out there to die all by themselves. So many people were affected by what Alexee did, ranging from her parents to the boyfriend's mom, to her classmates, to her community. And specifically to the hospital staff that came across this terrible, terrible scene. Leela, the housekeeper that discovered the baby, says that she is suffering from PTSD from what she witnessed. She says that some days are better than others and that she'll never forget the image of that innocent, lifeless child. She said, quote, "I wonder what was going through the person's mind when they decided to wrap a baby in a trash bag and dump it into a can, like a piece of garbage." My heart just breaks for everyone that had to witness this terrible, terrible thing, from Leela to the hospital staff to the nurses to the police, everyone. I can't imagine how traumatizing that must have been, and I just really hope that Leela and everyone else is able to heal from this. Now, as I mentioned at the start of the video, this case went viral on social media. A handful of Alexee's classmates came out and spoke about who Alexee truly is. Now, again, this is just stuff coming from quote, alleged classmates. I don't know how truthful these statements are, and these statements were given to the Daily Mail, so, let's just take everything with a grain of salt. Now, some of her classmates described her as a, quote, master manipulator to everyone. They said that she had several friends in school, but only very few close friends, and that one minute she could be friendly with you if she wanted something from you, and then the next minute she could pretend as if you didn't exist. Now, what really shocked some people is that some of the classmates came out and said that Alexee knew she was pregnant. Remember, this entire time she has been claiming that she had no idea, but these classmates are stating otherwise. They say that Alexee 100% knew that she was pregnant with her boyfriend Devin, and that she had even picked out a name for her son, which was Alex. Now, some people noticed that she did gain a little bit of weight, so when people would ask her about her weight gain, she would tell them that she was gaining weight because she was on birth control, not because she was pregnant. Regardless of her denial, there were still rumors going around the school saying that Alexee was pregnant. And these rumors began in November, when Alexee would have been 7 months pregnant. I mean, it seems like everyone at this school pretty much knew about these rumors, and one of her cheer coaches actually asked Alexee about this. And once again, Alexee blamed her weight gain on taking birth control pills, not on being pregnant. But still, it did seem a little bit odd to people. She did gain weight, specifically only in her stomach, and she was pretty much only wearing baggy clothes, where in previous years she hadn't worn that. Normally she wore flattering outfits, but now she was wearing like oversized t-shirts, and it just seemed like she was trying to hide her belly. What's crazy is that this video came out of Alexee cheerleading just 3 weeks before giving birth to her son. Now, if you look at this video, I just feel like you can tell she's pregnant. I mean, look at her belly. It literally looks like a perfectly round, pregnant belly. I don't understand how she didn't see this and wonder if she was pregnant or not, or at least her parents. I feel like if my parents had seen that I had this round belly, they definitely would have asked me about this, or, asked me to go take a pregnancy test, because that belly just, it doesn't look like a typical weight gain belly. So after this video went viral on social media, everyone started to wonder if Alexee's family was telling the truth about not knowing if she was pregnant, specifically her mother Rosa. I mean, looking back to Rosa's reactions in the hospital when the staff told her that they found a baby, to some it just seems like she staged her reaction and that she was acting. She was acting shocked with this news, but in reality she already knew that her daughter was pregnant. So I don't know, her mom's reaction is a little bit weird, and again, just seeing this photo of Alexee cheerleading with that big belly, I find it hard to believe that no one knew about this, specifically her boyfriend. I mean, Alexee was pregnant, so she was obviously being intimate with her boyfriend. So I'm wondering, how did her boyfriend not see this belly and begin to wonder, am I going to be a father? And it's so strange that Alexee's defense lawyer, Gary, is claiming that Alexee did not gain any type of weight or have any type of indication that she was pregnant. But again, looking at these cheerleading photos, it really just debunks what he's saying. One classmate said that Alexee is a narcissist and that she deserves some serious prison time if convicted for what she did, and that she needs to pay for her crime. They said, quote, more importantly, she is going to have to answer to God for what she did to her son. As for where Alexee is now, she is still out on bond and she hasn't done any interviews speaking about what happened. I'm sure her attorneys have advised her not to speak out or, make any type of statements. And like I mentioned, she was able to go to prom and she was permitted to graduate, but she actually did not attend her graduation ceremony with the rest of her classmates. And the reason for this is because the school felt like she just shouldn't be there. There was a lot of publicity with her case and with what she did, so they actually asked her not to attend. The attorney, Gary, says that Alexee doesn't really leave the house anymore. She basically just hangs out with her family and she doesn't really see her friends either. He says that she is basically isolated and is just waiting for the trial to begin to see what happens next with her life. I don't know, it's just sad. I mean, Alexee was 19 years old, so technically she's an adult, but at the same time, she was still in high school, so I feel like I understand why she was scared, why she was nervous, and why she felt like she couldn't tell her mom, but I still think that she could have just made a better decision and she needs to be held responsible for what she did. What she did to that baby is just not okay and it's truly disturbing. I'm going to link a couple of resources down below on teen and unplanned pregnancies in case you or someone you know is currently in that situation and are looking for ways to get help or just need to talk to someone. Again, a lot of people wonder if Alexee did know about this, this, but was just so scared of her mom that she decided to keep it a secret. You know, if she had a more comfortable and inviting relationship with her mother, then maybe she would have told her about this and they could have figured out what to do next together. So a lot of people do feel like this does bring awareness to an important topic of trust, openness, and honesty between parents and their children. Again, she was in high school, so it's totally normal to be afraid of what your parents are going to think. And again, I just feel like you have to be honest with people and you have to ask for help instead of ending up in a situation like this where you're giving birth in the bathroom and throwing your baby away in a garbage can. I know this case was difficult to listen to. It just broke my heart while I was doing the research for this. I'm just so sad that this baby boy was killed and wasn't even given the chance to live. I truly hope that the baby does get justice, and as I mentioned, I will keep you guys posted on any new movements in the case. Definitely let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think, and if there's ever any other cases you would like me to cover, make sure to leave me a comment so I can add it to my list. If you guys have not listened to the latest episode of my podcast, I will link it down below for you guys and also put like a little annotation up here so you guys can listen to it. But thank you guys so much for taking the time for being here and for listening to today's video. Once again, thank you to Audible for sponsoring today's video. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!